Hi, and welcome to Your Inside Power. I'm Patricia Stepler, and today I'm going to take you on a journey, one that's focusing on unlocking your full potential by understanding the power that you have within inside of you. I help business owners and entrepreneurs to develop confidence in entrepreneurial thinking so that they can increase their profits, boost productivity, and gain time and money freedom and quick results. But let me share something a little personal. I wasn't always living this way. I was a former educator and I was teaching children, preparing them for their future life. But I realized that we weren't really showing them who they could be. We were teaching them facts, but we weren't teaching them how to truly think and to grow and to become. And this became really clear when my son manifested a full scholarship to college. And I knew that there was something powerful at work. I just didn't fully understand it. I'd done personal development my entire adult life, but I couldn't figure out what he had done. And as the universe works, that's when I was led to Bob Proctor and the study of the laws of attraction and his understanding of how this all works. You see, every person has its untapped potential inside of them, a power that can lead them to greatness. As Wallace D. Wattles said, there's the thinking stuff from which all things are made, and any thought that is impressed upon this substance that is imaged by our thought can turn into our reality. To make it a little easier, basically, our thoughts are the seeds that create our reality. I saw this power in my own 3 children, but I didn't always see it in the students I taught. So what was the difference? See, my children knew how to tap into this power, even if they didn't fully understand it, just by the personal development my husband and I did, and the principles that we tried to give them to believe in what they were doing and to encourage them and support their dreams and ambitions and never to squash their dream. As many times as my son told me he was going to get that scholarship to college, I did not believe him. He never knew I did not believe him. And of course, he let time prove him right. But I do remember a Mother's Day card my daughter and son, my one daughter and son gave me one year. And it expressed this gratitude that they had, that indeed I was allowing them to live their dreams. And it touched my heart because I didn't know that they even realized what I had done or what sacrifices my husband and I had made in order to help them to live their dreams. And then I remember another time, my older daughter, who was in medical school at the time, and she had, I don't know if you're aware, but in medical school, they have to take these tests every so often. And these tests are super difficult. And there's so much pressure on a medical student because if they do not pass those tests, they can pretty much figure that all the time and effort they've spent up to that point in medical school is for naught because they're not going to progress any further. So anyhow, I was talking to her one day when she was in medical school, and she said that some of her friends were, gathered around talking about what they would do if they did not pass these tests. And my daughter was like, why are they thinking that way? They should think about what's going to happen when they do pass the test and how their career will continue. So those are 2 examples of times when, you just realize that there is this power there. And if you encourage people and you understand even a minute amount, which is all I understood at the time of both of those incidents, you can still have such an impression that you can leave on people. But see, the problem is most people don't have any understanding of this. And they live life reacting to the circumstances that happen to them, not realizing that they have the ability to create the circumstances that they want. Part of that is to develop mental faculties. Let's dive a little deeper into the tools that we have that can help us to create the life that we want. You see, we have these 6 mental faculties that are reserved for human beings. There is no other animal in the animal kingdom that has these. And we have memory, intuition, reason, imagination, perception, and will. Now, the most important ones we have here are imagination and will, because when we build an image of what it is that we want, and then we hold that image and we continue to focus on that image, that's when we can make the biggest difference in our lives. So when you start using these tools, you realize that there's no real limitations on what you can achieve. You know, it's like an oak tree. You plant a tiny acorn and it grows into this massive, strong tree with branches going out. That's what you can do too. You can grow into this massive person and personality and become who you want to be. And just like that tree, it's growing on purpose, and that's what you do. And it doesn't happen fast. It happens slowly over time, but with a purpose. So what does the growth look like? Well, it starts with forming a clear mental picture of what it is that you want. Wallace D. Wattles said, man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. That means that you can think about something you want, whether it's success, financial reward, freedom, or a thriving business. And with focus and unwavering belief, you can bring it into reality. So that's basically what my son did to get the scholarship. He formed an image of obtaining a scholarship. He thought about it for 6 years. He spent time thinking every time he went to a baseball practice or a football practice or a basketball practice, because he wanted a collegiate scholarship in athletics. He wanted to play ball, and he finally decided to play baseball. And so he focused an image every time he went to practice, every time he went to a game, multiple times during the day. He would talk about getting a scholarship, a full scholarship to college. And he did that because he built the image of what he wanted. And then he got the reward. Now, you must understand, there were difficulties on the path. Things did not work out. He had roadblocks. He had discouragements. But he kept focus on the goal. And he allowed sometimes those roadblocks, because sometimes when things are not going our way, it's because we don't know the right path. You see, the universe is all knowing. We only know what we know in our experiences. And so he allowed those times when roadblocks got in his way not to discourage him. Also happened for us. You know, we bought a house that was not quite what we wanted. And yet we built this picture of, well, my husband actually convinced me that if we did this and we did that and this and that, we can make it our house. But here's the problem. Years went by and nothing changed. We did not do any of those things to the house that we had wanted to, where he convinced me it was the right one to buy. And then all of a sudden we needed a new roof. And that new roof, it was like, okay, so we need to fix the roof. It's either now or never to do the changes to the house that we wanted. And so he sketched it out, and we started talking about it, and we started seeing what it was going to look like. And the resources, the funds, the ideas, the opportunities came so that we could get the house that we wanted. But it all starts with your thinking. So the next thing we need to talk about is that, you know, a lot of people, live their lives feeling like victims of circumstances. They think their destiny is controlled by some external factor, where they were born, who their family they were born into. They think the economy is in control. They think their background. That's not true. You are not a victim unless you choose to be a victim. You have the power inside of you to shift your thinking from life happening to me to I get to create my life. Wattles also talked about the need to shift from competitive mind to a creative mind. You see, when you compete, you're believing that there is scarcity and lack. You think that there's only so much success or so much money or good out there to go around. But when you're in the creative mindset, you know that you can create whatever you need. You don't need to fight for it. You can simply think about it and put the action behind it and then do it. This reminds me of when I was in high school. I was really involved in music, which is why I became a music teacher when I was teaching. And I was involved in competing with friends, for placement in band or, being able to play the piano in chorus or competing in district and regional and state chorus and going to those competitions. And, friendly competition's okay, but you should never be competing with that other person. You're competing with yourself. And I know that at times when I was competing with somebody else, trying to beat them, that was a competition that was not healthy because it wasn't about them. And I remember one time being super disappointed because I did not get to play the piano for this certain piece of music. And I felt like I got beaten out and it wasn't fair. And I was the victim and woe is me. But when I started to take an honest look, even as a high schooler, when I started to take an honest look, I realized I didn't practice enough. I didn't put the effort behind. And that's sometimes what doesn't work out. Sometimes things work out really well because you put the practice behind. When I was competing in districts and regionals and state choruses, I wasn't really competing with anybody I knew. I was mostly competing with myself. How can I go into that audition and prove myself to be worthy of being in that group? And I think that's why it was more successful, because that time I wasn't competing with somebody else. I was just competing with myself. And when you're competing with yourself, you're working to improve who you are. And that makes a difference. And then you don't feel like a victim. Now, all this might sound simple, but it does require practice. It's not something that just seems to come natural and easily to people. You have to build faith and belief in this. And you have to build the faith and belief that you have power and stay committed to your vision and to what you want. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, because when you have a disappointment in your life and something doesn't seem like it's going right, that's when you allow that fear and doubt to creep back in, and that blocks your progress. And we tend to allow environment to dictate our decisions and actions. And we cannot do that. We cannot allow the environment, the world, to toss us around. We have to make decisions for ourselves. When you understand how to use your inside power, as Wallace says, nothing was ever in any man or woman that is not in you. No one ever had more spiritual or mental power than you, and can attain or do greater things than you can accomplish. You see, you can become what you want to be. That should be great news for everybody. In other words, if somebody else has done something, if somebody else has been successful at something, that means you can be successful at it too. All you have to do is follow things in a certain way and do certain actions. And when you do that, you can be accomplished. Now, as I was building my business, there were lots of doubts and fears inside of me. Did I have what it took to help a company or a business or an individual or a coach or entrepreneur to become successful? Did I really understand these principles that I'm talking about? And, at first there was a lot of doubt and fears. What if I charge somebody money and then I don't produce for them? Well, I allowed those limiting beliefs to get in my way. And with that, I wasted lots of time and money because I felt like I needed this and I needed that and I needed this and I needed that. And it got in the way of my own growth and my thinking that I had the ability to help. And when that happens, you start to doubt yourself. And so we have to have the confidence to overcome. And the way we develop that confidence is to get rid of those limiting beliefs and start believing in ourselves. Think about it for a moment. Nothing is stopping you from reaching your own greatness except your own limiting beliefs. That's the only thing stopping you is your limiting beliefs. And once you release those and embrace the power within you, you can achieve anything. So what's the next step? Well, we have to start by visualizing what you want. You have to develop such a clear mental image of that goal and see yourself having it. And then you start to use those mental faculties, the imagination. How can you imagine a brighter future for yourself and keep that into focus? How can you trust your intuition that when something doesn't feel right, you allowed that mental faculty to guide you to what may be the better option? And then your perception. How can you use that perception to look at the possibilities around you and to see things from different perspectives, different points of view? See, your greatness isn't something you have to search for. It's already inside of you. You just need to go inside and unlock that. So as you go about your day, remind yourself of this power and take small steps every day towards your vision. And all you need is to take one step at a time. So often I see people come in and work with them and they set these big goals, and a big goal in their finances and a big goal in their health and a big goal in their relationships. And when you do that, you kind of dissipate that power and it gets confused. So take small actions every day. The other thing is when you set too many goals, you overwhelm yourself and then you don't accomplish anything. So find one, maybe two things to focus on, maybe a business goal, or, if you're looking for a job, a goal there, and then a personal goal, and remind yourself about them every single day as you move forward and take those small steps towards the vision that you're holding in your mind. Bob Proctor used to say, if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And when you do that, I promise you that you'll begin to see incredible changes in your life and in your business. So again, I work with people to help them to uncover these powers that they have inside of them and to accomplish their dreams and to do it quicker, whether it's a business that you're building or, just your life in general. And, if you're building a business, one of the key things that I've found is that you have to build a strong foundation. I was just talking to somebody the other day about how You have different people that will tell you, oh, you need to do your branding. Oh, you need to do social media. Oh, you need to do marketing. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. And it just gets so confusing. And so what I discovered was all those things are important, but do you have to learn 1,000 things about each one? So what I've done is I've pulled a program together where you're going to get the essentials that you need out of branding, the essentials you need out of social media, the essentials you need about videotaping, the essentials you need about podcasting, the essentials you need so that you can take action quicker. Sometimes a lot of programs are just full of knowledge and they just give you, like volumes of information, but there's not steady action that you need to take. What makes my program different is that it's action oriented. It's getting you to take the actions you need to take as you're building your mindset, as you're building your confidence, as you're building your network, as you're building your group, but you're taking action so you're seeing results faster. Because there's nothing more discouraging than going over here and working on a program and seeing no results because you're missing the piece that was over here. I did that myself. I was working on Facebook ads, and I had no business doing Facebook ads because I'd never done anything on branding, nor had I done much on social media, period. But here I am trying to do Facebook ads. You see, I was doing that program and then I got discouraged because I wasn't getting results. Why wasn't getting results? Because I had no branding, no marketing, no social media base, no foundation. You can't build your business like that. You have to build that strong foundation first and do things in a certain order and have them work together, because branding alone isn't going to do it. Marketing alone isn't going to do it. You have to pull everything together. So if that makes sense to you, I want you to reach out to me and schedule time so I can show you exactly what I'm doing to help you to build your business and to become the business owner and entrepreneur that you really want to be.